no indirect participation. Again, the notice of addendum, so questions will be addressed via addendum. If you would like to get on the proposal takeout list, you can register here at in the bid and bond room, and then all the addendums or any addendums that are issued will be emailed to you electronically. The table here is today's the pre-proposal conference. Any questions are due by Friday, July 26th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that is the last day to submit any questions that you may have. All proposals are due on Monday, August 14th. The proposal submission, the respondent must submit one hard copy original, one redacted copy of the submission, and 10 electronic copies of the original in one searchable PDF format on a USB drive or a CD-ROM. The original hard copy must be clearly marked as original and must bear the original signature of an authorized officer on all documents requiring a signature. Electronic copies must be exact duplicates of the original. The respondent must enclose all documents in sealed envelopes or boxes. Again, as I mentioned, proposals are due at 4 p.m. Central Time on Monday, August 14th, 2019. Late proposals may not be accepted by the Chief Procurement Officer. This professional service agreement, the term is 2 years with a 2 one-year extension options. All questions can be directed to me also via email, and my name and my information should be on the RFP, but you can email me directly at Magdalena, Magdalena .Toussaint, Toussaint, at cityofchicago.org. Again, by 4 p.m. Central Standard on Friday, July 26th would be the last day for questions. And then just going through some of the sections, we have the cover page, which is section 5.1. We have the table of contents, which is section 5.2. The cover letter, which is section 5.3, and I wanted to point and highlight the fact to attach any addendum acknowledgments to this letter. So any addendums that come out must be acknowledged, and those addendums, the acknowledgments have to be submitted with the cover letter. The respondent must submit a cover letter signed by an authorized representative of the entity committing respondent to provide the services as described in this RFP in accordance with the terms and conditions of any contract awarded pursuant to the RFP process. Section 5.4 would be the executive summary. Section 5.5 is the professional qualifications. Exhibit 3 is the company profile information form. So submit a completed company profile information sheet for a prime, each joint venture partner and subcontractors as applicable. Exhibit 4 is a company references client profile information. Submit a completed client profile information sheet for each company reference. Provide a minimum of 3 references. Business licenses. Respondent must provide copies of appropriate licenses or certifications required by any individual or entity performing the services described in this RFP in the City of Chicago, County of Cook, and State of Illinois for itself, its partners, and its subcontractors, including evidence that respondent is authorized by the Secretary of State to do business in the State of Illinois. Let's see, we have section 5.6, and that's personal qualifications, specialized experience, and local availability of key personnel. The implementation and management plan is section 5.7. Compensation schedules are section 5.8. All costs at a minimum are to be provided as requested in Exhibit 2. The compliance plan, as I mentioned before, is section 5.9. Financial statements, 5.10. We have the online economic disclosure statement and affidavit. Following that one, it would be section 5.11. Legal actions, section 5.12. The insurance certificate, section 5.13. And disclosure of conflicts of interest, which is section 5.14. Moving on to section 6.8, and this is evaluating proposals. So the evaluation process will consist of an evaluation committee, which will include the representatives from the City of Chicago, Office of the City Clerk, Department of Innovation and Technology, and the Department of Procurement Services, and may include representatives from other departments of the city. The evaluation committee, or EC, will review and evaluate the proposals as followed. Phase 1 is the preliminary proposal assessment. Phase 1 will involve an assessment of the respondents' compliance with and adherence to all submittal requirements requested in Section 5. Phase 2, which is the proposal evaluation. In Phase 2, the EC will evaluate the extent to which a respondent's proposal meets the project requirements set forth in the RFP. This will include a detailed analysis of the respondent's qualifications, experience, proposed implementation plan, compensation schedule, and other factors based on the evaluation criteria outlined in the RFP Section 6, evaluating proposals. In Phase 3, which is site visits, product or system demonstration, and or oral presentations. If the EC submits a short list of respondents for further review, then in the sole discretion of, the city with concurrence from the CPO, those shortlisted respondents may be subject to a site visit, product system demonstration, and or invited to appear before the evaluation committee for an oral presentation. The evaluation committee may forego Phase 3 and submit a recommendation or reject any or all proposals. And I think that's pretty much it. Highlight, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the city clerk to go ahead and go over the scope of services, and then we'll take questions at the end if you have any. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roberto Lopez. I'm the Director of Project Management as it relates to technical initiatives within the Office of the City Clerk. I'm going to go over a brief overview of what's expected in the scope of services. So the objectives are to ease the management of legislative document submissions, simplify the submissions to the Office of the City Clerk, and to finally improve accessibility for the public. Right now, the major challenges revolve around the voluminous number of hard copy submissions that we get on a monthly basis. Because of that, there's insufficient metadata that's entered that corresponds to each piece, and it's prone to mistakes, and at the end, it makes it less readily searchable and accessible. So what we see as being part of the solution within the RFP is the city council, what currently exists as the management system, and you can look at the current Chi-City Clerk website to see a platform that exists that manages these documents, right? That makes it accessible to people. There's a back end on the city clerk side, which allows us to input information, right? So what we see as a future solution is not exactly the way it currently works, but to have the means by which we can manage all of these documents, right? So the management of meeting agenda and linked items, for example, reports, the management of those reports, and to improve the current vote-taking process, or the recording of the votes. In addition to that, we'd like to expand on what we expand the platform in such a way as to allow for multiple document submission options. These are the two main options are the web form submission option, right? And in addition to that, some level of support as it relates to the current scanning process, right? In addition to that, we want this to be scalable so that we can continue to build on an ongoing basis, right? And so some of those pieces would be data submission, and the other piece would be the email submission. Within these submission options, we should always address or recognize that there might be potential pitfalls in the submission, right? Whether it's duplicate submission, the confidence of categorization via whatever process is to categorize each ordinance, And what's always expected by a stakeholder is some sort of record that they've submitted to the Office of the City Clerk. So those are very important safeguards. One of the solution option involved, or the fundamental step of these solution options may entail a structured document. A structured document would be how you would address the legislative piece and how it's structured so that different stakeholders could submit it in that format, right? Not only does it help the stakeholder, but it also helps the system to understand what's being submitted. In addition to that, once the structured legislative piece is identified and addressed, then the web form submission option would be something that would become readily available. So this, what you would see on the front end, as a stakeholder, let's say you're at a ward office, you decide that you're going to submit an ordinance of some sort. As soon as you log in, it would know where you're from, right? So you would never have to type that in again. And if you chose a different field, whether it be parking or a disabled parking, whatever, it would fill in all the legislative pieces, like where the municipal code might be, like all of that information in the back end, and allow you to submit it without ever changing that template. So some of the professional services involved include, like I said earlier, addressing the development or ongoing system enhancements over time. So what we'd like to see from a project timeline standpoint is the first submission options to be available within 6 months, right? And after that, that's to your discretion as long as it meets the criteria of the scope of services.
Yes.
For participation goals, if a company is both the MBE as well as the WBE, does that meet both the 10 and the 5%?
No, you'd
Yeah,
have,
clear.
yeah, exactly, yes. Yeah, you'd have to, right. One of each. So, I mean, they can be both, but you would have to meet, each goal is separate. Anything else?
Is the assumption that this is going to be a cloud-based solution?
You can propose a solution how you feel that might work the best based on what the scope of services is.
Anybody else? That's it. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps it up if nobody has any other questions. Again, as I mentioned, those dates are really important. So if you do have any further questions, just make sure you get them to me, and you can email those to me directly by the 26th of July, and we'll make sure to address them all and issue an addendum. And the proposal is due August 14th. I think that pretty much wraps it up. If you guys don't have any other questions, we appreciate you coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon. And then I'll collect your records. Oh, all right, that's fine. Nothing. Okay. Sounds good, thanks.
So I guess we're,
I'm just gonna, it's my fault. So I had that, you know, on the cover page, because those were the original dates, but, I just don't remember. So I had about maybe like 4 or 5 different companies reach out, and so I clarified everything to make sure that the date was today. We posted a clarification to the DPS website, you know, stating that, you know, what the correct dates were, or are, I should say. And then what was actually originally advertised in the Sun Times were the correct dates.
Okay.
So Friday, and then August 14th.
Okay.
So everything, yeah, so now everything lines up, so
Okay.
no, we're good.
So I didn't
Yeah.
know if we had to come back on.
No, not at all. We're, yeah, no. Yeah, we're good to go. So I apologize for that. That was kind of like a, and then they posted it really fast, and then I was like, oh no, and then I know you guys had asked, and I'm like, yeah, so my apologies.
Thank you for all of your
No,
efforts.
thank
No, not a
you.
problem, and I hope, you know, it went pretty, I mean, I think it went fairly quickly as far as I know. So we'll see, hopefully, fingers
That
crossed.
means you wrote a good RFP then, you didn't have any questions.
Exactly, yeah, that's good news.
When is the video usually available? Like,
No, I'm gonna ask her, I believe, I mean, when is the video available?